for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kusa. You ain't here for my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get mad. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Vivek Ramaswamy.
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine, you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine, you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me?
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Let's get ready to get into it. Everybody hit that like button. Thank you in advance. All right. Now let's see who's in here. All right. Perplex made it easy for me. All right. Hey, Perplex, Reggie, Laverne, we the people. All right. Coco Marshmallows, Nessa G, Christopher, Just Anticipate, my Aunt Egypt, Claudette, Deronda, Desmond, Cookie. All right. With that all being said, I'll be chill too. Okay. And so with that all being said, let's get ready to get into it. I see you, Christopher. Byron is in the house. Andrea. Okay, so shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. Now, before we get started, let's get into, or let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. I see you, we the people. Khalid is in the building.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, and also she sells a beard oil. Okay, so now let's get into it because these are some very nefarious stories today. All right, so prepare yourselves. Hey, Lillian X and Buckhorse DC. Truth Montage is here as well. All right, we in the building. Let me tell you all something. So yesterday, some people were saying in the chat that they took like 10 minutes after they put their phone down for a second or whatever, and then it was like 10 minutes before YouTube let you guys back in. But come to find out, YouTube supposedly went down yesterday. Okay, because I was talking to one of my moderators after the fact, and they said they couldn't get back in either. And when they Googled it, it said that YouTube had gone down. Okay, so if you all didn't know that, that's likely why. I mean, it was acting real crazy because even after I finished the live yesterday, I tried to go on my phone to see a video, and it basically said that, well, actually, to see my video and to see what you all were talking about. And when I tried, it said this content's not available, and then it said, an error message came up or whatever after that when I tried again. And I was like, oh, they are really hating on the queen, honey. Okay, but y'all know they be hating. But anyway, Desmond said um that it was actually the YouTube was down. Okay. But nonetheless, be on your P's and Q's. Okay. And make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving your notifications, because people do become unsubscribed. Sheila says, sure did. It was a mess with YouTube yesterday. Okay. You know, every now and then we have those difficulties. Okay. So let's get into it. Listen, these are some nefarious stories I'm going to tell you all about. The first one, let's just go ahead and get right into it. There was a 5-year-old little girl who was assaulted by a 9 and 10-year-old who have been arrested, and they have some very serious charges. Okay, serious charges. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go to the mother's Facebook page because that's where much of the information is. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, so here we are. The mother is Antavia Kennebrew. Now, here's what she posted October the 6th. Says on September the 13th, hold on, let me put on my spectacles. Now it says on September the 13th of 2025, my daughter resided at a trusted family member's residence around the area of 145th in St. Clair while I underwent a medical procedure. Now, while she was away, I got a phone call from my family member stating that my daughter walked out of her house and she couldn't find her anywhere and that the authorities were contacted. I immediately was filled in panic and I rushed out of my house and to arrive at the scene. As soon as I got there, I ran to the EMS truck where I found my daughter unresponsive, bloody, with her hair pulled from her scalp, her body covered in bruises, her fingernails filled with dirt. This is awful. Her eyes filled with blood, her neck showing signs of strangulation, her mouth and lips bloody, her private area filled with debris and dirt, and a big lump on her head. Do you all hear this? This is so sad. And to think that this was done by children. I couldn't believe what I saw in front of me. My daughter did not look like herself. She was traumatized. She was shaking up a group of bigger kids. She was shaking up a group of bigger kids around ages 8 and 9. I think she meant shaken up by a group of bigger kids, perhaps. Okay, but anyway, and the ages were 8, 9, and 10. They walked up to my daughter, presenting themselves as friendly, took her by her hand, and walked her to a field that was far away from the residence. In that field, they beat my daughter until she was unconscious. They ripped out her hair. They held my daughter down as they raped her. They also shoved sticks down her throat and down her. Oh my gosh. I have not read this. I watched the news reports. I have seen those. They also shoved sticks down her throat and down her private area. They stripped her and strangled her with her own shirt. One of the children then proceeded to take out his cucumber and leave her covered in their bodily fluids. Okay, giving this child a golden shower. What do these children know about such things? This is all crazy. They beat her and penetrated her until she was unconscious and unresponsive. One out of the 3 kids ingratiated their teeth on my baby's bottom area to hold her still as they assaulted her. Assaulted, mind you. Okay. The kids then left her where she was and not telling no adult, thinking they succeeded in killing her. And they continued playing my family member as she was still looking for my daughter. And then saw 2 out of the 3 children that lives on her street that she had not knew at the time harmed my daughter, and walked up to them and asked them if they saw a little girl. Listen, you all bear with me because this has absolutely no punctuation marks. Okay, whatsoever, no periods, no commas, no question marks, any of those. All right. So anyway, it goes on to say, um, and they continue playing my family member as she was still looking for my daughter. I saw two out of the three that children that lives on her street that she had not knew at the time harmed my daughter. Walked up to them and asked them if they saw a little girl. They stared at her with no remorse and told her no, and continued playing, knowing what they had just done to my daughter. Mm, mm, mm. So, at last, my family member went back to her house waiting on the authorities. Them same kids who she had questioned came to her with their mother saying that they know where my daughter is. Them same two kids that stated that they did not know where my daughter was now with their mother took my family member to where my daughter was found in the field, naked, brutally beaten, penetrated and unresponsive. Her clothes, her hair, and later found her shoes was scattered all around the field. All around the field. My cousin uh, panicky placed my daughter in her vehicle, I guess panicking, and placed my daughter in her vehicle, rushed her back to the house, and continued waiting for the authorities to get there. My daughter is completely traumatized. I am completely traumatized. These kids broke my daughter's spirit. They took away her boundaries. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. This is literally unbelievable. They penetrated her and constantly beat her. I never wanted to get the media involved because I didn't want my daughter trauma plastered everywhere when she has to constantly see what happened to her and what she'd been through. And I also trusted that she was going to get the justice that she needed. I am bringing this to the media today because the authorities are failing my daughter. They are trying to tell me that two of the kids can't and won't be charged because they are 8 and 9 years old, even though they attempted to murder my baby and they raped and beat her. They are saying legally these two boys cannot be charged. I need help and I need justice for my daughter. I have reached out to legal aid and this is all lies and BS, and the Cleveland Metropolitan Bar Association for legal help. I also reached out to a great crisis to get me a victim advocate that I was told can help me on the criminal justice side. I have been advocating for my daughter and I'm not getting any help. I also contacted the mayor of Cleveland, Ohio's office to try and get help. I have not received any yet. I need you all to understand if them two kids' mother did not make them boys go back to my family member and let her know where my daughter was at, my baby would be found right now. My baby wouldn't be alive. My baby wouldn't have been found, and right now my baby wouldn't be alive. So these police that are telling her they can't be charged because of their ages, they were clearly lying because now they've been charged. And also that was a lie straight up because there are 7-year-olds who've been arrested. Like, what are they talking about? So anyway, goes on to say, where did I leave off? Okay, they literally tried to kill my daughter. These are not normal kids themselves, and their parents need to be held accountable. My daughter is not the same. She's having behavioral problems. She is mentally not okay. I am mentally not okay. Me not getting justice for my daughter makes me feel like I failed her. She is having thoughts of self doing things. Okay. She is breaking down. She hates talking about what happened to her, and I am breaking down with her. I have set her up with a therapist and also seeking one for myself. I cannot sleep. I can barely eat. I keep repeatedly seeing images of my baby in that field. She is only 5, and these horrific things has happened to her. Please help. Please help. Please look at this as if it was your own kid. This is not gossip. This is not a funny matter. This is not nothing to not take serious. This is our life. Please help us. Please help us. There is way more graphic photos of my daughter when she looked way worse. I am not comfortable posting. Oh my goodness, this is oh so sad. Do y'all hear this? Look at this poor baby. Oh, honey, this is sad. Okay, I wonder what kind of parents do these kids have and where did they learn anything so so depraved from? Where did they get this from? So anyway, this is all real sad, and they pulled her hair out literally from the roots. I saw the photos. Here's one right here. Okay, this is just absolutely awful. I'm going to go to some of the news reports that she has posted on here. Uh, and they do have a GoFundMe. Let me see if I can get the link off of this. And this is awful at the end of the day. Now let's go to the first report. The last one is how I found out that they were actually arrested. Let's go to the beginning. Okay, I do believe this is the first report.
We've gotten dozens of messages, emails, and hundreds of comments. People shocked, but also deeply empathetic. Today, Tavia Kennebrew got a glimpse of that support. And once again, we want to warn our viewers, this story may be disturbing. This neighborhood, quiet and still. A blind eye might even call it peaceful.
It's a real quiet, empty street for the most part. But it is a lot of kids that's down there on that other end.
But the darkness hides between the trees.
It's just disturbing to know that it's kids that's on my street that's young enough to know to do stuff like that.
Police reports say September 13th, a 5-year-old girl was taken by 3 juveniles under the age of 10 to a field on this street, East 148th. Police are investigating whether those children beat and sexually assaulted a little girl. The details too disturbing to share.
So it's questions like, what do they go through in their household?
That attack has united the community.
I got a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I can just feel for her.
So just seeing her hurt, it hurt me. So just to show support for real.
I'm so sorry your baby had to experience
Thank you.
trauma.
I appreciate
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know you, but I'm praying for you.
And today, that hurting mother, Tavia Kennebrew, felt the compassion firsthand. Today we talked to a mom and she felt your pain and she's like, really? I want justice for her. How does it feel seeing that support?
I can't even express it. Like, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that people is caring.
I just wanted to say I'm very sorry.
Friday at the Zelma Watson George Rec Center, a toy drive for Tavia's 5-year-old daughter.
Hi, how are you?
Dozens brought gifts.
I appreciate it.
And an outpouring of love.
It's just heartbreaking. This is devastating. Every person that come up to me, like, is making me break down.
In her fight for her daughter. Tavia felt defeated for weeks.
I just hope that the mothers get justice.
But now?
I feel like my baby don't have no choice but to get her justice now. I feel like it's being looked at, it's being taken seriously, and everybody know that they're being watched closely.
She knows in this battle,
I'm going to ride with her every single way until this is over with.
She's far from alone.
It made me think like it wasn't no more human decency left, so
we come pulling and tugging on you, Lord.
For people to be showing like, just because this evil thing happened to her, we not evil, the rest of us not evil, like we care about what happened to your daughter.
Pray for the mom, Lord God, and the daughter.
And I appreciate that.
Father God.
I appreciate it.
In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
As of now, the investigation is still ongoing, and because it involves minors, details are few, but we're going to stay on top of this story.
I'm sorry, I forgot I was muted. This is absolutely a shame. Okay, the fact that kids did this is almost unbelievable, like I said. Okay, let's go to this next report. Cleveland police are investigating the assault. Here we go.
Cleveland police are investigating allegations a 5-year-old girl was sexually assaulted by other young children. Of course, this is a tough story to tell and a tough story to hear. Annabelle Childers spoke with police and the victim's mother today.
I want to get justice for my daughter. I want them to know how serious this is, the pain that she endured and how it changed our life forever. I want them to take it serious. I want everybody to look at it as if this was their kid.
On the afternoon of September 13th, Cleveland police officers responded to a home in the 1000 block of East 145th Street. A caller reported she was babysitting a 5-year-old girl, but the girl had gone missing. The police report is heavily redacted, but it states the 5-year-old was found in the fetal position in a field under a quarter-mile away from the residence. A witness told the responding officer that they saw 3 juveniles take the 5-year-old girl to the field and attack her. It's unclear who picked up the girl from the field, but she was transported to the hospital by EMS for emergency care. Investigators later found evidence and the girl's clothing in the field. And according to the police report, video evidence and ring camera footage were also recovered. The police report lists the offenses in this case as sexual battery, kidnapping, felonious assault, strangulation, assault, and rape. It does not state whether any witnesses intervened or attempted to stop the attack.
We're actively investigating it. Our detectives, working to resolve it. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, it is a very sensitive investigation at this point.
Cleveland police do confirm the victims and suspects in this investigation are under 10. Meanwhile, Antavia Kennebrew is still processing the pain that was inflicted on her daughter.
She been affected mentally and physically by what was done with her. So just seeing how much she changed is hard. What was done to her was inhumane. So it made me think like it wasn't no more human decency left. If you see anything and it doesn't look right to you, say something about it. Because that could have stopped what happened to my daughter if somebody spoke up and say, if they stopped. So just speak up.
And right now, it is unclear what charges may be filed in this case. Cleveland police are still conducting their investigation before they turn over evidence to the prosecutor's office. Russ.
Annabelle Childers in the newsroom. Thank you. Cleveland police are investigating allegations a 5-year-old girl was sexually assaulted by other.
Okay, so this is all horrific. Now, here's the problem. Somebody saw them doing this because they said they saw them take her out into the field and attack her. So they didn't try to stop it. Who was this person? Were they an adult? I would think they were an adult because if it was a child, they likely would have said so. But so they didn't do anything to stop it, didn't try to go get help or anything. Like, that's just real crazy. Why would you ignore something like that? Let's go to this last report. These kids seem like I don't know. I don't know what could drive children to behave this way. It's just absolutely disturbing.
Identity theft protection. Special deals start today. AARP member.
A mother in shambles after she says she found her baby girl beaten and abused. For the first time ever, the child's mother is speaking out, and you won't believe who police say are the suspects. 19's Noelle Williams joins us now with this heartbreaking story, and we want to warn you, some of the images and details are graphic.
I literally saw the worst thing ever. Like, I saw my daughter unrecognizable.
What happened to Antavia Kennebrew's daughter is something most people will have a hard time understanding. She says her bubbly, sweet 5-year-old daughter was beaten and assaulted. This picture showing hair ripped out of her scalp. Police revealing startling details. The victims and suspects are under the age of 10 years old. This is shocking news to the 21-year-old mom.
I couldn't wrap my head around it.
Kennebrew's mother held her hand as she wept. She tells me out of safety, she does not want to share her daughter's name or show her face, but she explains what happened that day. She tells me on September 13th, she had dropped her daughter off at a family member's home near East 145th Street and St. Clair Avenue. Somehow, her baby girl walked out the front door. When Kennebrew found out, she rushed over and saw her 5-year-old being treated by EMS several blocks over.
Her hair was scalped from her head. She had bruises and blood all over her body. Her eyes was filled with blood. Her lips and mouth was filled with blood. Her nails had dirt, debris of dirt stuck in it.
19 News reached out to Cleveland police several times to try and find out if there are any charges. If so, what are those charges? And if the ages of the suspects would hinder that. All police would confirm is that the victim and suspects involved in this case are under the age of 10, and any other information would jeopardize the investigation. Either way, Kennebrew says her daughter is left physically, emotionally, and mentally hurt and now in therapy. She is grateful for the support of the community so far, but she wants help and answers.
I want her to just to be somewhat of a normal 5-year-old again.
In Cleveland, Noelle Williams, 19 News.
Again, no charges have been filed, but we will continue to press police for information here. And as soon as we do hear that charges are filed, look for that first.
Okay, so charges have been filed according to this report. It says prosecutors charged 2 children ages 9 and 10 in a brutal attack on 5-year-old girl from Cleveland. The Cuyahoga County prosecutors have charged 2 children ages 9 and 10 in connection to the brutal assault of a 5-year-old girl last month. They say the 9-year-old boy and 10-year-old girl. One of these was a girl. Now that might explain the hair being ripped out of her head. Maybe the little girl was jealous. I mean, kids be jealous too. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, it says the 9-year-old boy and the 10-year-old girl are facing initial charges of attempted murder, grape, felonious assault, kidnapping, and strangulation. The alleged assault took place September 13th in a field near East 148th Street and St. Clair Avenue in Cleveland. Atavia Kennebrew, the victim's mother, previously told 19 News her daughter was beaten, assaulted, and scalped. She described that day saying that she had dropped her daughter off at a family member's home near East 145th Street and St. Clair Avenue. She said somehow her baby girl walked out the front door. When the mother next saw the daughter, she was being treated by first responders. What I saw was unbelievable. Now, the prosecutor's office they're not releasing any more information because of the sensitivity of the case. They said they are still going through evidence and collecting new information. This is awful. Absolutely egregious. This is scary, in fact. Don't you all think so? That a 9 and 10-year-old boy and girl could do this? Perplexing. Now, see, when this first came to light, there were 3 children involved. I have questions. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Where's the 3rd child? Where is that 3rd child? You're absolutely right. They said there were 3 children. Now, why are there only 2 of them that have been charged? That is a very good question. Okay? That is a very good question. 2 children ages 9 and 10. This is what all the articles say. A boy and a girl. Yeah, that's real interesting. I'm going to have to look into that. Because why wasn't the other child charged? And this happened in Ohio. And we know how it goes down in Ohio. Now, I have several questions. Was this 3rd child somebody that didn't look like her? The measurement said they were pushing to charge the 8-year-old. Why couldn't they charge them? Because they were 8? Needles and Micewell said they're not charging him because he's 8 years old. Okay, so you can charge a 9 and 10-year-old. No, that's not the case. That's not why they're not charging him. That's what they're saying. But that's not why they're not charging that person. Let's get into it, because I know that there have been instances where a 7-year-old was arrested. Hold on. I'm about to look it up. Yeah, exactly like I thought. Okay, because I literally did a story some years ago about a 7-year-old who was arrested. Now, it wasn't anything this serious, but there were 7 nonetheless. It says, yes, an 8-year-old can be charged with assault, but it depends heavily on local laws and the specifics of the situation as a child's capacity for criminal intent is considered. While a child's age is often a factor, some states have no minimum age for prosecution, and some states even have a minimum age of 10 or younger. Okay, so maybe that's the case in Ohio. Let me look that up. Hmm. In Ohio, any person under the age of 18 can be arrested as a juvenile. For serious offenses, a child who is 14 or older can even be tried as an adult, a process that is mandatory for certain crimes like aggravated murder or murder. The age of 18 is the threshold for being considered an adult. So they say any child, a child under the age of 18, any child under the age of 18, that's what it says. Okay, that's what it says. In Ohio, any person under the age of 18 can be arrested as a juvenile. For serious offenses, a child who is 14 can even be tried as an adult. Yeah, so I'm not buying that. There's another reason they didn't arrest that child. Okay, there is another reason, and I intend to find out what it is. Okay, I'll be looking into that. Trust and believe. Now, with that all being said, let's continue. This is really sad. Prayers and condolences for this young child that she had to go through this, and hopefully she gets the proper counseling. She's going to be forever traumatized, more than likely, even with counseling. This is something that likely is going to haunt her for the rest of her life. This has probably permanently scarred her, unfortunately. And I pray for her and her mother that they get the spiritual healing that they need. This is just awful. So anyway, let's go to the next story that's awful as well. Okay, these stories are all awful today, unfortunately. Okay, so with that all being said, let's talk about it because there is a postal worker, or was a postal worker, who's now dead. He was an African man. Okay, the family of Black postal worker who died after police ignored his stroke files a $120 million lawsuit. He's actually an African, and I'm going to call him an African, refer to him as an African because Africans don't refer to themselves as Black. Okay, they refer to themselves by their nationality. So Kingsley Fifi Bing Pong's family, that's his name, says police officers showed deliberate indifference to his stroke symptoms, which led to his death. This was all due to racism. Okay, they racially profiled this man. They thought that he was on illegal substances. I think, in fact, I don't even think that's what they thought, because I just thought about it. One of the cops pretty much knew that he was having a stroke, because he said to the other cop, this guy's having a stroke. He was like, is this guy having a stroke? He said something along those lines. Okay, but anyway, I just think this is all malicious. Communities are outraged and seeking justice for Kingsley Fifi Beanpong, a black postal worker in Minnesota who died in police custody after officers allegedly ignored signs of his stroke during a traffic stop. Last week, Bimpong's family filed a federal lawsuit against Eagan Police in Dakota County and its correctional officers for the deliberate indifference to the 50-year-old's medical needs during the reported 5 hours and 40 minutes he was in custody. So all that time they had him in custody, if he had been at the hospital, that man would likely still be alive. That man would likely still be here. This just makes it's infuriating. They say at every step along the way with Eagan police and the jail defendants, it was a conscious choice of deliberate indifference to not bring him to the hospital. Yeah, they really seemed as though they just felt like it was going to inconvenience them and they didn't want to do it. That's what it seemed like. According to the lawsuit, the incident took place in on November 16th of 2024, after Bing Pong left work early due to a headache. Now, on his way home, he made a left turn on red, which led to the Eagan police pulling him over. During the traffic stop, Bing Pong reportedly could not tell the officers the simplest facts, like his own name, where he was coming from, where he was going, or even where he lived. These are signs of a stroke. Please pay attention. So if you're ever around someone who's having one, that you will know. Okay, so body cam footage from one of the officers at the traffic stop even revealed an officer suggesting that Bimpong may have been experiencing a stroke due to the serious physical and cognitive abnormalities as cited in the lawsuit. Now, so much so that the responding officer called Officer Martin Jensen a rug recognition evaluator, specially trained to distinguish medical emergencies from someone who's impaired because of illegal substances. Okay, he wanted him to assess Bing Pong's condition. However, the lawsuit claims that Officer Jensen didn't conduct the typical evaluation and was heard saying on the body cam footage that doing the 30 to 45-minute evaluation would be a whole bunch of time wasted. Do y'all hear this? That's what he said. A whole bunch of time wasted. Didn't even want to take the time out. This man is dead because of that. I think people like this should go to prison. I think that people who do this, who engage in this sort of nefarious behavior, okay, who are willfully negligent, should absolutely be in prison. That should be the consequences. Now, especially if you're a police officer. So ultimately, paramedics were not called, and Bing Pong was transferred to Dakota County Jail, where the lawsuit claims his condition worsened despite officers doing multiple wellness checks and citing inmate and cell okay in the official jail logs. He ends up losing control of his bladder, rolling around in his own urine, and clearly in pain and struggling for hours when no one is helping him, Bennett says. There were checks happening. They weren't reacting to anything that could easily be observed, such as him on the floor in his own urine. Okay, they didn't do anything. They lied and said that he was okay as they're doing their checks. The 50-year-old who was left lying in his own urine for hours did not receive medical attention until he began foaming at the mouth and having what reportedly looked like a seizure. Though he was eventually transferred to a hospital, Bing Pong died after suffering a massive brain bleed. This was awful to hear and even worse to see. Okay, I'm going to go to the video. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Video to watch.
He's lying in his own urine. Guards walk by and look in as part of their legally mandated well-being checks, but for hours do nothing. Nothing until it was too late.
He was suffering immensely.
Katie Bennett is a lawyer representing Kingsley's family. She's suing Dakota County, but says the real story starts hours before Kingsley was booked into the jail, unable to even stand on his own, accused of a crime he did not commit.
Which makes it particularly hard to watch him suffering from something at no fault of his own.
The story starts here, at the United States Post Office's Eagan Distribution Center. Kingsley works the night shift. He began complaining of a headache and then just vanished from his job. Records show an Eagan police officer spotted him driving his maroon car the wrong way on Pilot Knob Road, in oncoming traffic, bumping into the center median. He was pulled over.
Maroon Ford Edge registered to a Kingsley Bing Pong.
According to the police report, Kingsley was extremely confused, did not know where he lived, and did not know where he worked, even though he was wearing a USPS vest.
Hey, Kingsley.
Yeah?
Where do you live?
I don't know.
Kingsley just kept repeating, "I don't know," and was unable to do standard field sobriety tests.
And things just go downhill from there.
There was no sign or smell of alcohol.
Hey, if you're free, can you come over here, please?
So Officer Martin Jensen, Eagan's Specialized Drug Recognition Evaluator, or DRE, was called to the scene. The lawsuit alleges Officer Jensen can be heard on body cam saying doing a DRE evaluation would just be a whole bunch of time wasted. And when asked if Kingsley should be taken to the hospital, the DRE officer responded, "For what?" Kingsley was arrested, charged with DWI, and taken by Officer Jensen to Dakota County Jail, where he was so disoriented he was unable to even complete booking. Instead of getting a medical screening, jail video shows he was placed in a cell. Minutes later, he falls, and hour after hour after hour, He rolls on the floor, unable to stand, urinating on himself repeatedly. Guards look in and document inmate and cell okay.
Paperwork says they checked on him and he was okay.
He was clearly not okay.
What was he?
Dying.
More than 3 hours went by until a female guard noted he was foaming at the mouth, having seizure-like activity, and the jail nurse was finally called.
Come on, son. Belly up. Wake up. Wake up.
Acting on the information that he was on drugs, she administers Narcan, with no results.
Come on. Can you look at me? Wake up.
As paramedics arrive, you can hear a guard and nurse discuss how Kingsley was ignored, the so-called well-being checks, just for show.
He said he's been like that all night. Not to worry about it.
No, that's not okay.
Well, this person is not checking when he's doing rounds. He's just walking by and scanning.
Finally, taken to the hospital, where it was determined he'd been suffering for hours when every minute counted from an untreated stroke. Our investigation finds DRE officers are specifically trained that subjects suffering from a stroke will often have a dazed appearance and be confused, and warned a stroke may mimic drug and alcohol impairment. At the hospital, Kingsley was declared brain dead. The state crime lab later confirmed there were in his system no drugs.
So as a nurse, I've watched people mistake medical emergencies for bad behavior. So what happened in Minnesota proves that ignorance can absolutely kill. Kingsley Bing Pong, a 50-year-old postal worker, left work early with a splitting headache. Hours later, Eagan police stopped him for erratic driving. Instead of recognizing he might be having a stroke, they automatically assumed intoxication. They arrested him, took him to the Dakota County Jail, and for 5 hours and 40 minutes, he sat there slurring, drooling, losing mobility, while officers logged cell okay. He finally collapsed, and by the time paramedics were called, it was already over. The autopsy showed a massive hemorrhagic stroke. Now his family has filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against Eagan Police, Dakota County, and multiple correctional officers, accusing them of deliberate indifference and failure to provide medical care. The complaint details how staff weren't even up to date on CPR or first aid training. So from a medical standpoint, every FAST, F-A-S-T stroke sign was flashing red. Face droop, arm weakness, speech difficulty, time critical. This wasn't just tragic, it was absolutely preventable. So as healthcare providers, we know minutes matter. Law enforcement and jail staff need mandatory training in recognizing medical emergencies, stroke, hypoglycemia, overdose, seizure, before another life is written off as resisting or under the influence. Medical neglect isn't discipline, it's death. Training saves lives.
The sad thing is they actually had training. DRE is specifically trained to know the difference between symptoms of a stroke and someone who's impaired because of, alcohol or other substances. Okay, they're specifically taught that, so they should have known something wasn't right at the end of the day. And here's the thing: if that had been a Caucasian person, you think that would have happened? I guarantee you, it would not have. Okay. Vince I Am from the UK says, I remember years ago I got arrested for being with a former friend who was nefarious. Vince, please stop telling the Queen's business. Those devils treated me like I was guilty, even when they realized I was innocent. Never forget that experience. I'm sorry that happened to you, but that's absolutely what they do. And it's people who look like us. They will absolutely, not innocent until proven guilty, but guilty until proven innocent. And that's just a sad state of affairs that we live in, not just in the United States, all over this world, globally. Okay, because Vince is in the UK, and the same thing happens over there.
I am not surprised by the treatment that the postal worker got.
in police custody because he was black. I'm not. There are so many people on here who are crying, who are white, who act like they don't understand that we're getting this type of treatment. That's why black people don't want to seek medical attention. They don't want to go to hospitals and urgent cares because we don't have medical emergencies. Black people don't. We don't need medical treatment. We don't need medication. To these people, we're subhuman. That's the exact way they treated that black postal worker who died in police custody because he was having a stroke, and they said he was under the influence. The only reason why we know about all of this is because his family is suing the police department, and so it's public now. Otherwise, we wouldn't have known because this happened some months back. We wouldn't have known. This man was in the police cell in police custody urinating on himself. Cognitive skills completely gone because he was going brain dead while he was in their custody. They lied on paperwork and said we checked on him every 30 minutes and he was fine. He was fine. There was no way he was fine. He was going down the opposite side of the road. When you found him, you cut off your body camera and said, is this man having a stroke? And then you said, well, we don't want to waste resources on medical equipment checking for his, if he's having a stroke. Because we're sure he's under the influence. Obviously, he's black with dreads. He's got to be on drugs. They gave him 3 rounds of Narcan while he was in his cell, urinated on himself. You can see his arm bent back behind his body because he cognitively could not control his body movement. Those cognitives, he didn't even know what was going on. He probably didn't even know where he was. It's so hurtful to see that. And it's scary at the same time because that could have been my husband. That could have been my son. That could have been anybody I know that's black. That could have been my brother. You never know. But when you're black, this is what you experience. And no, it's not surprising to any of us to see that video. If anything, it angers us. It does. It really does. But we're not surprised. We're not. We're not shocked. We're not surprised. This is just our life. This is what we go through. This is what we experience.
No lies detected, unfortunately. This is absolutely the truth of what people who look like me endure. They do not care. Okay, they absolutely do not care. I was at the hospital with a friend once, and I felt like they were having a stroke because they kept complaining about this very severe headache, a very, very severe headache. And I knew that they had high blood pressure. So their blood pressure was sky high. It was like 201 over 185 or something like that. So I took them to the hospital, to the emergency room. We get there and, I tell them that I think they're in danger of having a stroke. Their blood pressure is really high. They have a severe excruciating headache. I mean, it was hurting so bad they were vomiting. That's how you know you're about to have a stroke. Okay, the first signs of a stroke, you will notice that the person will be complaining of a headache. The person will say that they have blurred vision. They will have slurred speech. Okay, they will start feeling like a tingling sensation on the left side of their body. At the end of the day, the quicker you get them treatment, get them to the hospital, the better off they'll be. This man was in that cell for almost 6 hours. Almost 6 hours. But back to what I was saying about my friend, once they got her in a room, which took like probably almost an hour, mind you. But once they got her in there, the nurse comes back in after drawing her blood, doing the blood pressure, checking her vitals. The nurse comes back with discharge papers like 30 minutes after she gets in the room saying you're discharged. And I'm like, discharged? And she says, yeah, the doctor's discharging her. And my friend's like, for what? Okay, what's the diagnosis? And she says the doctor has diagnosed her with vomiting. So I immediately got irritated. I said, vomiting, that's not a diagnosis. That's a symptom of something. She's about to have a stroke. They literally would not admit her into the hospital. So I took her to another hospital. And when she got there, you know what they said? That she was in hypertensive crisis, which means she was about to have a stroke. Her blood pressure was stroke level, which I already knew that because I checked it. Okay, and then if I had not taken her to another hospital, because the nurse was like, well, she's discharged, you can just take her home. No. Okay, if I had not had the wherewithal to take her to another hospital, she could have gone home and had a massive stroke and died. Okay, once I got her to the next hospital, which was Emory, shout out to them. They basically put her on all these IVs, and they had to give her morphine to, calm the pain. That's how excruciating the headache was. Okay, they had to give her Zorcan, I think that's the name of it, a Zorfan or something like that, to stop the nausea because she kept vomiting repetitively and all of that. So I'm telling you that these doctors, they don't care. If you're a Black person, I'm not going to say all of them, but some of them absolutely don't care. Let's not forget there's the book Medical Genocide. Okay, let's not forget all the medical experimenting they've done on Black bodies. And I just talked to you all about this days ago when I did that report about the nefarious things that have happened to people who look like me in this country. Okay, this is absolutely nefarious that something like this happened and they sat there and told all those darn lies. That's what they did. They sat there and told all those darn lies talking about he was okay when they did the checks. You further know that they lie about those things all the time on a regular basis. Vince I am said morphine is no joke, way stronger than codeine and tramadol. Yeah, absolutely. And they had to put her on a morphine drip. Okay, that's what they had to put her on. And they had to give her the blood pressure meds intravenously so that it would quickly lower her pressure so that she wouldn't have a stroke. Leon said, Queen, you saved her life. Thank you, beloved. I really did now that I think about it. Well, thank you. So anyway, it's just all crazy. And you really have to be advocating for yourself when you're in the hospital, or if you take someone to the hospital, you have to advocate for them. Okay, because this is what happens. And it's really sad and it's a darn shame. Okay, now let's talk about this pastor who ICE shot up with those non-lethal bullets. Okay, which still hurt, by the way, it can do serious damage. Like I told you all before, there's people that have lost their eyeball because of that. There's people that have had, brain damage because of it, but they'll say these are non-lethal. Yeah, okay. Anyway, let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
Federal agents used tear gas while taking a man into custody in Albany Park over the weekend. The Sun-Times reports it happened at the corner of Wilson and Sawyer yesterday afternoon. Dozens of people took to the streets. A recent court order requires agents to issue 2 warnings before using riot control weapons. Witnesses said they heard no warnings. The weekend incident comes after a pastor was pepperballed last week at an ICE protest in Broadview.
That pastor was David Black. He joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning, Pastor.
So, Pastor, take us back to that evening in Broadview. What made you decide to go that evening, and what was happening leading up to ahead of being pepperballed?
I felt called in that moment by the traditions of my faith to minister to those who were persecuting peaceful protesters and people who had gathered to pray, to sing songs of liberation, and to call for the release of our captive neighbors. So I stepped forward and I prayed for the ICE officers who were standing on that roof, and I called them to repentance in very traditional Christian language, inviting them to believe the good news and to enter an altar call to come and leave behind what they were doing. And as I was praying audibly to them, they opened fire on me and shot me twice in the head, another 5 times on the body at least. Parenthetically, the manufacturer of pepper balls says on page 4.1 of their safety manual that pepper balls shot at heads, necks, spines, and other sensitive areas can be deadly. And so I wonder about the training of these ICE agents, and I wonder.
Now, you all hear that? They absolutely can be deadly, but they'll lie and tell you that these are non-lethal bullets. Okay, they're gonna miss me with it. So ridiculous.
About their intention.
DHS says the protesters were blocking federal vehicles. Did you happen to see that? Not that that excuses what we saw in that video, but what was your... were protesters blocking ICE vehicles and preventing federal officers from doing their jobs?
When I arrived, that was not happening. And you can see in the video where I was standing was not blocking any ICE vehicles. A few minutes later, ICE agents flooded into the street. I was disabled on the ground, being helped by medics. And there's a video that shows an ICE truck coming out at that moment. But instead of ordering us to disperse or giving us a warning, they shoved us down, slammed protesters into the concrete, and maced us with so much mace, so much chemicals, that I was drenched. My denim jacket, my jeans, my long underwear were drenched by the amount of chemical weapons that they were deploying against me and others. And I just want Chicagoans to be thinking about, if this is what they're doing to pastors and to journalists and to teachers and to mothers and to elders who are gathering to sing and to pray outside of this facility, what might they be doing to our neighbors who are behind those walls? And this is a moment for Chicago to come together in solidarity, and I'm so proud of the city and the way that it has showed up for a vision of a stronger city where all of our neighbors can live where they choose to belong in the safety that we provide for one another. This is a great city, and I'm so proud of the faith of the people that I stand shoulder to shoulder with.
There are some religious people, Christians, who are on the other side of this issue. When you talk to those people who would say, let immigrants come in, let them go through the proper process, what do you say to those people?
They have not reached out to me.
You have not had any, have you reached out to them?
Have I reached out to them? That's an interesting question. I have been called in this moment to proclaim the gospel, and I will continue to do that. I've received letters from people who are concerned about the way that I am ministering my faith, and I respond to them with deep compassion and thankfulness, because I believe that people operate on good faith and that people are genuinely concerned for what is happening to this nation and this city. And I want to engage with them in the mutuality and love that I believe need to be fundamental if we're going to rebuild the city after what this administration is doing to it.
So you're now suing the Trump administration, saying this was a violation on your freedom of speech. What are you hoping comes out of that legal action?
I am hoping that there will be a permanent boundary with an administration that is notorious for its failure to keep good boundaries. And as we saw in the news just now, they have already violated that order. And this is a moment for people of conscience in America to see what is happening and to gather around our neighbors in solidarity, because we must protect each other. And I'm so grateful, again, for all of the valor of Chicagoans who show up with $40 of protective gear against ICE agents and $50,000 of tactical gear and weapons, again, with nothing but prayers and chants, songs of liberation, and just words of good conscience.
Pastor Black, we appreciate you joining us this
Thank you very
much.
much.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to tell you all something. That's a darn shame. I am extremely glad that he didn't lose an eye or have any sort of real serious damage like I have seen happen in cases like this. The poor man was out there praying. How stupid are they? Don't they say that they're Christians? Isn't that what the rights always say? This is absolutely nefarious. And I want you all to pay attention, because at the end of the day, yeah, they want us to think they didn't zip tie those little children. Of course they did. Of course they did. Okay? Look at the things they're doing. There's no excuse for any of it, as far as I'm concerned. Don't make any darn sense. They got mad because that man was offering them prayer. Are you serious? Only demons get that upset over prayer. Okay, last I checked, let's not forget the man who shot and killed Sonia Massey, that cop, because she was praying. Remember? She said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And he shot her dead. All right, this is all so crazy. TC Dan says, Queen, the right-wing Christians are hypocrites and liars and agents of Satan, in my opinion. Oh, well, you know what? We're gonna hear from them in just a few minutes, beloved. We're gonna hear from them in just a few minutes, because let me just get this little story out about Bad Bunny, and we're gonna talk about them. I want y'all to pay attention, because this story right here is hilarious. Fans launch a petition to replace Bad Bunny with renowned king of country, George Strait, for Super Bowl halftime. Say what? Honey, let me tell y'all something. They do not want Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. They don't. Because he's Puerto Rican. A petition to replace Grammy Award-winning rapper Bad Bunny with the king of country, George Strait, as the Super Bowl halftime show performer is gaining steam online with thousands of fans on board. Do you all know who George Strait is? I mean, I like country music a little bit. But, yeah, here he is. That's who they want playing at the Super Bowl. If they don't sit down some damn where, but let me continue. So they go on to say, the announcement that Bad Bunny would perform at the NFL's biggest stage has been met with controversy, as many, including the organizer behind a Change.org petition, are worried the 31-year-old Puerto Rican singer and frequent critic of President Trump may turn the halftime show into a political stunt. No, they know he's not going to do that. That's just what they want to do. Okay? They just don't want him to perform because he doesn't like Trump. Okay? And now they're talking about, just wreaking all kinds of havoc. I heard Trump said he was going to send ICE agents there because Bad Bunny had canceled some shows supposedly before because he said ICE agents would be there waiting to arrest his fans. So anyway, the petition against Bad Bunny, who had axed all U.S. performances in his world tour over concerns about ICE raids, went up on October the 1st and has already garnered more than 10,000 signatures. The petition suggested that 73-year-old George Strait, who boasts a celebrated discography with more than 60 top charting songs, in hopes that a changed tune could help the halftime show truly pay tribute to American music's rich heritage. A heritage of music started by Black people. Okay. I know they think they own country, but they didn't pioneer country. We did. But let me continue. Just for the record. Now, the Super Bowl halftime show should unite our country, honor American culture, and remain family friendly. American culture? That's funny. Not be turned into a political stunt. Bad Bunny represents none of these values. His drag performances and style are the opposite of what families expect on football's biggest stage. That's what the petition says. Again, George Strait embodies unity, tradition, and the timeless American music that truly deserves the 2026 Super Bowl spotlight. And they also, by the way, brought up this resurfaced clip of Bad Bunny and Jay-Z talking, and supposedly, I think, was Bad Bunny on Saturday Night Live? I don't know, but it was something about Bad Bunny saying something about WWE was better than the Super Bowl, or it was more popular or more important to him. And so they brought that up to further demonize my guest. So anyway, they say some fans are highlighting the inappropriate lyrics and themes in Bad Bunny's songs, while others seem frustrated with his performance with his preference to perform in his native tongue. So they don't like that he's doing it in Spanish. Bad Bunny's discography, being more modern than the baby boomer country legend, is flush with sexually explicit lyrics that would be bleeped out or altered to be more television friendly during the Super Bowl show. First of all, that's not even true. Okay, first of all, he's singing in his native language. That's for number one. They said it themselves. Second of all, whatever he's saying in English, I'm quite sure would be appropriate because he knows it's going to be nationally televised. So he would do the clean versions. Okay, artists, when they have, risque lyrics, they usually make a clean version as well. Okay, for radio airplay and stuff like that. So they sound stupid. They're just making up excuses. Now, Strait's own songs are generally squeaky clean, save for a few soft innuendos. Now, in his 1984 song, The Fireman, Strait sings about cooling down a woman that his friend left burning out of control by giving her little mouth to mouth. Other petitions with anywhere from 1,000 to 11,000 signatures insist that Bad Bunny, whose real name is Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, be removed altogether without suggesting any alternatives. Now, Bad Bunny handily addressed the backlash during the SNL monologue during the 51st season's premiere and told viewers that they have 4 months to learn Spanish. Y'all hear it? Bad Bunny said y'all got 4 months, okay? Turning Point USA previously announced that it will be holding its own halftime show in competition with the NFL's, featuring an unspecified collection of performers. Well, good for them. Okay, House Speaker Mike Johnson nominated 83-year-old Lee Greenwood to replace Bad Bunny as well. Dang, Lee Greenwood is 83 years old? Woo, honey, when that man walks out onto the stage to perform that song with Trump looks way older than him. You mean to tell me that man isn't that older than Trump? Because how old is Trump? Like 82? This is all crazy. But anyway, the 83-year-old country singer agreed that he would make a great performer for any Super Bowl show, but didn't explicitly agree with taking Bad Baby's spot. So y'all heard it. These people are a hot mess, okay? It's just all true. So what do you all think? What do you all D Major scaling up said Lee Greenwood, bless his heart. Well, you know, I'm proud to be an American where at least I know I'm free. That's a song, ain't it? Ooh, honey. Jeff ATL said Trump is 79, Queen. Are you serious? Measure Man said he's 102. Measure Man, I didn't ask you how old he looks, beloved. I asked you how old he actually is. Hold on. Speaking of Trump, ooh, honey, I know Trump is still mad about this. This is the worst picture of Trump I have ever seen. And to think that they put it on the cover of Time magazine. Now, y'all know they did this on purpose. They do not like him, okay? And it shows. Okay, he looks like a whole turkey getting ready and dressed up for Thanksgiving. Got him. It's all nefarious. Don't y'all agree? It's all nefarious. Okay, so now with that all been said, he was born in 1946. All right. Hold on. Deanna says they showed Senator Marino from Ohio speaking about Bad Bunny. With so many black people playing on the field, it should be representative of black culture, and I don't respect organized sports. All right, honey. This I am said he's still orange and burned in that funny pig. Okay, that's the ugliest picture of Trump I have ever seen. Okay, Jeff ATL said Jeff ATL, you ain't hitting on ish. Said that must be him without the toupee. Well, you know, Measure Man said yesterday, I think it was Measure Man, said that when he saw that picture, he said they disappeared my hair. Well, I am totally done, okay? Now, with that all being said, let's get to the fun stuff, and here it comes, okay? Now, we had to get the serious matters out first, but now, oh, hold on. They went in on Jason Kelce, Travis Kelce's brother. Jason Kelce says that they said Jason Kelce thrown into Bad Bunny Super Bowl controversy after fake quote drama. So they said that he had to come out and speak about it. And usually he says he doesn't talk about stuff like this or get involved, but he felt the need to say something. In a message posted Tuesday on X, the retired Eagles center made it clear, unless you hear something directly from me, consider what's being conveyed elsewhere as false. As the apparent viral remarks, and here's what was supposedly said. If Bad Bunny is a bad fit for the Super Bowl, then maybe the people making these comments are a bad fit for America's future. Okay. And they said that Kelce said that. He said, I normally don't comment on things like this, but I feel a need to address that there are a number of accounts posting fake quotes and attributing them to me on this platform right now. I appreciate at X putting community notes on several, and I will not address the other accounts specifically because I do not want to amplify their engagement. Smart move. Okay. But please know, unless you hear something directly from me via one of my platforms, it's not real. Okay, that's what the current ESPN analyst expressed in a post that has since amassed 1.8 million views. President Trump called the choice absolutely ridiculous. Okay, while NFL Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson implored Bad Bunny to keep his ass away from the league's biggest stage if he feels a particular way about the U.S. Well, I guess he told him. The three-time Grammy winner who hails from Puerto Rico, a U.S. territory, mind you, they act like he's from some distant land so far off, okay, has been critical of Trump and previously told ID that he did not include tour stops in America over fears that the possibility of ICE being present at his shows. So anyway, there were many reasons why I didn't stop in the U.S. and none of them were out of hate. I've performed there many times. This is what Bad Bunny says. Okay, they say, but there was the issue of like effing ICE could be outside my concert. And it's something that we were talking about and very concerned about. And amid the chatter swirling around his upcoming performance, Bad Bunny, who's 31, ribbed his critics during an October 4th performance on Saturday Night Live. That's when he told them they had 4 months to learn Spanish. Okay, but Jason Kelce said he didn't say any of that. You know, I've never listened to Bad Bunny's music. I didn't even know he was a rapper. I looking at him, I would have thought he was a singer. And then also, I literally just heard of him like a few months ago. And I have to wonder, does anyone know why he calls himself Bad Bunny? Does anyone know why he calls himself that? Is he LGBTQ community? D Major Scott said Bad Bunny's a huge artist. Well, I'm sure he is, beloved, but probably in Puerto Rico, right? I never heard of him until recently. So those Looney Tunes hating need to leave Bugs Bunny alone. Vince, I'm done with you for today. Okay, I am done with you for today. Songwriter Sonny says an ice raid at a concert is dangerous as F. It is, but I bet you they would do it. I bet you they would do it because I've already heard that Trump said they're going to have ICE agents at the Super Bowl. No less. Justin Tispe said he kissed men in his performances. Okay, We the People said Bad Bunny equals bad beesh. Okay. Songwriter Sonny said he's dating a Kardashian and his name is Benny. The Major Skeleton said he's well known all over the world. Well, honey, I must have missed the memo, beloved. Thanks for letting me know. All right. How long has he been out? Who is this man? But I will say this. This is what I want you all to pay attention to. This is what I want you all to pay attention to. I just want you all to realize that Jay-Z did us a favor. Yeah, he did. Jay-Z actually did us a favor by choosing Bad Bunny to perform at the Super Bowl. And I'm going to tell you why. Because first of all, I feel like the Super Bowl needs to be boycotted. Not the Super Bowl. I feel like the NFL needs to be boycotted if they don't let Shakur Sanders play real quick. Okay, I've been telling y'all, first of all, the way they messed him up in the draft. And now Kevin Stefanski, okay, yeah, I said it. Kevin Stefanski will not put him in the game. Okay? So with that all being said, I think that they possibly need to be boycotted. If Shakur doesn't get in the next game or two, that's what we need to do. And so I feel like Jay-Z got us our lick back because he got Bad Bunny to perform for the Super Bowl. He chose him. And now all of the people on the right are mad and butthurt and bent out of shape. And now some of them are talking about, not giving money to the NFL. One of those people was supposedly Elon Musk. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I saw a report. But you got to be careful these days because people be out here lying. Hold on. At the end of the day, like I said, yeah, here it is right here. I guess it is true. It's reported by credible outlets. Several of them, in fact. Let's get into it. MSNBC, or I'm sorry, MSN, Yahoo, and the Hindustan Times. Wait a minute. Hold on. There's a fact check. Now I'm confused because Yahoo 3 days ago posted an article that says fact check. Elon Musk did not threaten to end his Super Bowl sponsorship if Bad Bunny performs at the halftime show. That was 3 days ago, but then 2 days ago, the same publication, Yahoo, comes out saying Elon Musk is canceling his $40 million Super Bowl sponsorship over Bad Bunny's show. Oh, they say it's debunked. Okay. Well, I guess he didn't say it. But anyway, let's get into it. The Monaco singer's upcoming Super Bowl performance was recently marred by malicious rumors. On October the 11th, an anonymous person on X, formerly known as Twitter, shared a TikTok a text that read, Elon Musk warns he'll end Super Bowl sponsorship if Bad Bunny performs. Okay, well, that's not true. But nonetheless, Trump said he's going to send ICE there. So they don't want that man there clearly. Okay, they don't want him there clearly. Perplex said, last I've checked, Puerto Rico is an American territory. Is it not? He's an American. I see no issues here. I have been Dito. All right, Perplex, listen. That's what I said a few minutes ago, that it's an American territory. Like, these people are just crazy, okay? These people are nuts, in my opinion. But let's continue, because now, like I said, let's get to the fun part, Okay, let's get to the fun part because guess what? Guess who got their wake-up call, guys? Vivek. Vivek Ramaswamy. Okay, he's trying so hard to be white, but it's not going to happen. Quite frankly, these people don't care anything about you. Okay, that's what they don't. And so with that all being said, let's get into it because I am so done with him. He should have learned his lesson when Ann Coulter told him that she would not vote for him even though she liked his policies. And simply because he's an Indian. So let's talk about it. Lights up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. She told him straight to his face. I don't know why he
are
didn't catch
so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate.
Hold on. I don't know if she's on YouTube, so this is a TikTok, but let me put an overlay on her just in case. All right.
You're not an American black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory.
Now, I want you all to pay attention. I'm going to rewind it back so you can get a good look. Pay attention to the glee on his face when she says, "You're not an American black." Okay? When he sees that she's saying something about black people, yeah, he is grinning so hard.
Are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory. And that was a great opening segment. Lots of things to talk about there. Oh, and I agreed with many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that. And it's directly related to what you were just talking about. You know, the thing about nationalism, you're totally right. It is like, to use the word nationalism, oh, it's Hitler, it's Hitler. And, you know, Hitler had soup. That doesn't mean we shouldn't have soup. Mm-hmm. Hitler loved dogs. That doesn't mean you shouldn't love dogs. So I think we have to move past this. If Hitler did it, it must be bad. There is a core national identity that is the identity of the WASP. And that doesn't mean we can't take anyone else in, a Sri Lankan or a Japanese or an Indian. But the core around which the nation's values are formed is the WASP. We've never had a president who didn't have at least partial English ancestry.
Y'all heard that? She said they didn't have at least partial English ancestry. Y'all do know that the only reason they let Barack Obama get in there is because he's half of them, right? Y'all do know that. I'm sure you do. Okay, so now let's go to when he was at Turning Point. He decided, you know, because he's running for governor of Ohio. And so he went to a Turning Point USA rally or a town hall or something. I think it was a rally or something. Anyway, these people went in on him. Actually, I think it was a town hall, but they went in on him. And here's what I want you all to pay attention to. Here's what I want you all to pay attention to. Okay. Racist people are such cowards. Okay. If you're racist, come out with it already. Just let it be known. Say it. Okay. With all your chest. But some of these racists are cowards. And so what they do is they hide their racism under the guise of other things like patriotism. When they were being racist against Colin Kaepernick, who was peacefully protesting against social injustices and the police brutality against Black people, rather than say, oh, we're mad because he's trying to defend Black people, they made it about the flag and the veterans and said he was being disrespectful, as if they're such patriots. Meanwhile, we have all these veterans who fought for this country who are disabled, living on the streets. They can't even get proper medical or mental health treatment, okay, when they need to. But in this case, what they did with Vivek Ramaswamy was they basically used the guise of Christianity. Yeah, they used their religion to hide their racism, or to try to hide it. It was very obvious to me, but so that's what they did. Rather than saying, we don't want you here because you're brown, we don't want you here because you're Indian, they said, we don't want you here because you're Hindu and we're Christian. See how that works? This is what they do. Okay, so it doesn't look like they're just blatantly racist, but that's exactly what they are. Okay, that's exactly what they are. Because if you weren't, why do you care what this man's religion is? Everyone does not have to have the same religion. And so only people that are under your religion serve a purpose in this world. Okay, but let's get into it.
Jesus Christ is God, and there is no other God, and any other God is a demon, and it's false. How can you represent the constituents of Ohio who are 64% Christian if you are not a part of that faith?
Christian voices should be the main voice of America, and I want to know basically why you seem to be, and I don't mean to be horribly offensive, but why you seem to be masquerading as a Christian.
I don't call myself Christian. I call myself a Hindu. I'm not running to be pastor of Ohio. I'm running to be governor of Ohio, and I didn't run to be pastor of America. I ran to be president of the United States of America. Do you think it's inappropriate for someone who's a Hindu to be, say, a U.S. president? No, I think it's... No, well... You be honest.
Because you're an Indian.
Never thought that I would leave my faith. I never thought that I would leave my faith. They bonded over bigotry, but they weren't supposed to turn on me. No, I never thought that I would leave my faith. Now I never thought that I would leave my faith. I never thought that I would leave my faith.
It looks like Vivek never thought. Okay, please pay attention. Now, Claudette said, okay, that took me out when she said that, honey. Not masquerading as a Christian. That was so hilarious. But at the end of the day, honey, this is what these people really feel, okay? They're never going to accept him. He needs to just get over it. And then he's sitting up there having the audacity to be racist against Black people. Sir, you're almost as dark as we are. And here's the thing. I want you all to pay attention because another thing that he did was he put on makeup. Yes, he did. He put on makeup when he went there to appear lighter skinned. What y'all have to say about that? Self-hate is real. Okay, please pay attention.
I'm not sure what it's going to take for my people to truly realize that we're not welcome here. And it really doesn't matter whether you were born here or not. We're all looked at the same. Now, if you're Indian and you're watching this, you know as much as I do that we have a lot of similarities and we have a lot of disconnects. As descendants of a nation that was once colonized, we tend to whitewash a lot. And that is a truly strange phenomenon that happens. As someone that looks like, speaks like, and basically has the same story as Vivek Ramaswamy, I can let you know right now that this is nothing new. It doesn't matter what your accent sounds like. It doesn't matter what you believe in. It doesn't even matter how rich you are. The point that I'm trying to make is that no matter how hard we try, we're never going to be them. And this is nothing different than what other minority groups go through in this country. Whether you're Black, whether you're Mexican, whether you're Asian, whether you're Indian, it doesn't matter. We'll always be seen as the lackey, and as soon as they don't need us anymore, we're gone. And the faster that we realize that, the better it'll be.
Let me tell you all a secret. Nene said the people accusing him as masquerading as Christians are the ones masquerading as Christians. Benny X says the same thing. I beg to differ. I don't think they're masquerading as Christians. I think they are Christians just like they said. You see, the thing is, you all, Black folk, you're not the same kind of Christians as them. That's how that works. Okay, because when our ancestors were forced into Christianity, because that's not what we originally had. Yeah, right. So when our ancestors were forced into Christianity, that's the version that you all were taught from them. And why did they teach you all this nice version? Because they didn't want you to be like them, so you try to uprise against them. Okay, I just need y'all to wake up because this is the facts. At the end of the day, when they taught our ancestors about Christianity, they were just like those people right there talking to Vivek Ramaswamy. Okay, yeah. So they have indoctrinated you all into their fold. So if they did that, you don't get to determine what's real and what's fake. They do, you see. Now, they told you all to turn the other cheek, but that's not what they do. They're an eye for an eye, you see. All right? And just for the record, Christianity is not even in the Bible, okay? So there's that. So with that all being said, some people have clearly, in my opinion, been led astray. Okay, that's just how I see it. Because there's pictures of them, and let me just pull one of them up, okay, to prove my point. Now, I'm looking for this picture. I don't see it, but hold on, is this it? No, that's not it. Anyway, there is a picture that I've seen before of a little black boy about 6 or 7 years old with a noose around his neck, and there's white men on either side of him reading the Bible. They were Christians, okay? Because first of all, didn't they make up the religion? They made that up. It's not in the Bible, right? So if they made it up, they get to determine how it works. And so that's how it works with them. They can do all these nefarious things that they're doing. You just can't because they taught you better. They taught you to love your neighbor. They taught you to be kind and to obey your masters. That's what they taught you. And they even changed some of the scriptures in the Bible to make it more believable. Okay? At the end of the day, they also removed books from the Bible, 14 of them. Right? So, yeah, let's continue. And that's why I'm not a Christian. Okay? I'd rather ride for my ancestors, not the oppressors. I'm not saying there's anything wrong if that's what y'all choose to do, but just know that you were indoctrinated into that.
I don't know what he thought was going to happen. Coming to Ohio at a Charlie Kirk Turning Point USA event with young white Christians in the audience asking him questions. He was met with resistance, racism, and hatred. Like, I literally don't understand what it is going to take for people like Vivek to understand that it doesn't matter what you do, they are not going to accept you. I mean, these people think that Christianity is what founded this country, that this country was founded on Christianity, even though many of the founding fathers were not Christian, but they still have this belief in their head. They think they are superior. And what do we call that? White supremacy. They literally think that if you are not a white Christian, that you are evil. They will even go so far as to judge your tattoos, judge your nose rings, etc. Because if you aren't a carbon copy of the next person and the person before them, then you don't fit in. And they don't want you here. I do know one thing though. The Democratic Party needs to organize better. Because Turning Point is going all over this country, getting these young voters, these young Christian voters registered and voting.
That's exactly what they're doing. Okay? That is exactly what they're doing. Okay? Admiral E. Byrd discovered a land as vast as the U.S. with resources, Operation High Jump in the 1940s. Why don't the anti-Black Christians go live there? Yeah, exactly. Okay, that would be great. And speaking of Admiral Byrd, I did tell you all some time ago that I was going to do something on him, right? I forget what we were talking about and how we got on it, but I did tell you all that and I never did. So maybe I'll do that for the members. Okay, but let's get into it. Lights up, everyone, please like and share. Here we go.
Hands down, my favorite pastime is when a brown or black person has that realization that they will never be liked by racists. If you haven't heard of this guy, he is running for governor in Ohio. He decided to go to the Turning Point USA to get their support. And they humbled him so quickly with one thing, his religion. He's not Christian. And I don't know why he thought that they were going to see him somehow as an equal. A, you're brown. B, they don't like any other religion that isn't Christianity. So every single person who got up at the mic was like, you can't be our governor. You're not white. You're not Christian. And here he is. His heart is breaking.
Let me stop right here for a moment to say this. This is not true. When she's saying that they don't like any religion that's not Christian, that's not true. These people get along with Catholics. Do they not? Do they not? These white Christians, they get along with Catholics, Protestants, okay, Mormons. They get along with those people. They said that to him because they didn't want him to be there, because they are racist against him because he's not one of them. So they don't accept him and they don't accept his religion. But there's many religions, and those that their people deal with, well, they don't turn them away. That's what they don't do. That's what they don't do.
He's done nothing but chuck, jive, tap dance to appease them. And when it comes down to it, it was never enough. And so that's how y'all look. If y'all wanted to know how y'all look, for those of you who be tap dancing, chucking and jiving and wondering what it's going to look like when the tables turn, it looks like this. You see that? That's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it looks like. Okay? Please pay attention.
Do you know who won't do anything to decrease costs or address the working class families of this state? It would be the billionaire who flies around Ohio in a corporate jet just because he can't be bothered to drive 90 minutes up 71. This guy wants to be the governor of Ohio. This guy treats Ohio like a flyover state. Is the guy who absolutely refuses to stand up for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, even though he promised to over and over again. If he refuses to stand up for victims because it is politically inconvenient, do you really think he is going to stand up for us when we are struggling? No, of course he isn't.
Y'all heard that? I mean, I guess any old excuse will do. Okay, any old excuse will do. They're just trying to find reasons because they don't want to deal with that man. But you know what? I love it for him. I love this for him because Vivek thinks because he's a tech billionaire and he's acquired all this money and everything that he's next in line for his white privilege card. But they keep declining it. And sooner than later, he's going to realize that it's just not happening. Now, hopefully, this incident right here was the wake-up call. Okay, because I know he can't be that ignorant, can he? But I give 0 Fs because, like I said, he doesn't like people who look like me. All right, they want to come here and act like they're better than us, honey, and then try to get on team wanting supremacy, and it doesn't even go the way they wanted it to go. Okay, this man's doing all of that, and here's the thing: why do you think he's not in Trump's cabinet? Okay, why is he not? Why is he not a member of Trump's cabinet? Okay. At the end of the day, these people use people like him. They use Cash Patel's stupid self. He's there, but barely. All right. At the end of the day, they use them to get them votes and then kick them to the curb when they're done, or as soon as they do or say something to tick them off. So Cash Patel should know that he's walking on eggshells, literally. This stupid self.
How can you represent the constituents of Ohio who are 64% Christian if you are not a part of that faith? If you are an Indian, a Hindu, coming from a different culture.
Did you hear the language this young man used? For 1 second, he almost lost the plot and got on the race issue, but then he went back to the religion issue. But you see how he's talking about the people who built this country and Christian religion. He's talking about whiteness. He's not talking about any other group of people. He's pretty much saying to Vivek, how can you represent us? You're an Indian. You're not white. You're an Indian. Now we all know Vivek is a bootlicker. We already know this. We can move past this because they told him straight in his face, we didn't vote for you because you're an Indian. We didn't vote for you because you're not white. But this is exactly what Charlie Kirk was looking to do in his life, is that revert the people in this country back to their ancestors. Because people would think because of his age that this is all a coincidence of the things that he is saying. But if you listen really extremely closely, he's telling you the quiet part out loud. We don't like you because you're not white. You cannot represent us because you're not white. White people built this country and nobody else did.
That's basically what they were saying, and they were lying while they said it. Because first of all, our ancestors built this country. They're right. They just came over here and ruled it. Okay, please pay attention. That all being said, let's continue. Here we go.
So we got to watch out for the governor's race in Ohio taking place at midterms. There's two candidates that are already rising to the top in terms of just being out there. Let's start with the Republicans. We've got Vivek Ramaswamy. You guys remember, he's a slime ball. The man has zero ethics. He's a, oh my God, I want to be a tech bro, pick me type. He spreads all the same lies, misinformation, disinformation. You can really see his narcissism. The guy is just gross, okay? But he's running for governor in Ohio. So he can't run on that. Why can't he run on that? Because Ohio is a unique state where most Republicans there are not extremist MAGA. They're hardworking, decent people with conservative values, okay? They were the ones who like defended the Haitians with the rest of the MAGA world around this country, and Trump saying they're eating our cats and dogs. These are the people who elected J.D. Vance as senator when he ran as an anti-Trump candidate. Governor DeWine has risen above all of the MAGA extremism and has done a good job in his state. So Vivek can't run on those ugly, lying extremist talking points. So he's going to be speaking at a Turning Point USA event right around the corner, and he's going to be delivering this message. My fellow Republicans, we must get away from the owning the libs rhetoric and agenda. We've got to tone that down. We've got to be willing to work across the aisle. He's not delivering that message because that's what he believes. He's as unethical and divisive as the rest. He's doing it because it's the only way he can win in Ohio with the composition of Republicans there. Now, I'm interested to see in how this Turning Point USA event's going to turn out, because I've been to those events. And these are your MAGA extremists who have an addiction to fear and rage and hate. They want their addictions fed. That's why they go to events like this. So it would be, I would compare it to an alcoholic who's desperate for another drink, and somebody says, here, have a glass of water. This is better for you. Do you think they're going to react pleasantly? So I'm interested to see how his message comes across. Now, on the Democratic side, we have Amy Acton, Dr. Amy Acton. She's a physician and a researcher. And just to show you how Governor DeWine puts Ohio above politics, he appointed her as a Democrat to run the Ohio Department of Health. He took all of the advice from her to get Ohio through COVID, and he stood by her side, and she did a fantastic job. He didn't care that she was a Democrat. He just wanted the best people. So she's running on the Democratic ticket. So we need to elevate her. We need to push her content, follow her socials. Ohio right now is in the headlines because of the Trump administration. The headlines all over Ohio is that Ohioan farmers are being utterly decimated by the tariffs. I mean, we're talking headlines everywhere, and Ohio has a ton of farmers, including soybean farmers. So, this is an opportunity for.
All right, I've heard enough. Now, y'all see, she's clearly campaigning against him, honey. Okay, please pay attention. She does not want him in there either. Okay? But everything she said about him is true in my opinion, because I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't like him. And I'm so glad, so glad, so glad. I feel it down in my soul. I'm so glad that he was treated racist, because that's how he treats us. Okay, that's how he treats us. So he got what he deserved, in my opinion. Okay, I give no F's. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I give no F's.
You are an Indian, a Hindu, coming from a different culture, different religion than those who founded this country, those who...
This is so funny because it shows you that all these South Asian men, especially, who have become these big Trump supporters, they're not one of them. They're like, wait a second, like, I'm white on the inside. They don't see that. Like, you can see Vivek's like hairline trying to run away from the situation, or like Kash Patel in that one interview where they're like, we hope this person was a person of color. For so long, first generation immigrant South Asian Indian people have been told to assimilate to white standards. They might see themselves, or we might see ourselves as an American first and foremost. But the problem is, most of America does not see us this way. You know how many people ask me if I do yoga? If I pray 5 times a day? I grew up Catholic in Iowa. America will always be racist against people of color. This is why people like Zohran Mamdani has resonated so much with people. It's because he's so authentic about who he is. He knows his identity. He's not trying to cosplay. He's not like, a typical South Asian candidate like Kamala Harris or Nikki Haley, who really try to appease white voters in their identity. Yeah, Vivek, you deserve this.
Yeah, he did deserve it, and his own people even said it. One of his own people even said it. I told y'all he absolutely got what he deserved. Okay? He got exactly what he deserved. Now, somebody called him out for doing something they claim was unethical. And I love it. Now, I want you all to listen to this, because when this man is asking him these questions, Vivek doesn't want to answer. Okay? And then he tries to talk over this man. You can always tell when someone doesn't want to answer something, or they don't want, this to be a discussion. So they try to talk over you. Please pay attention.
You say you are anti-identity politics, anti-affirmative action in a party that hates the Soros name, yet you accepted a Paul and Daisy Soros scholarship at law school that was specifically set up for the children of immigrants. It was an affirmative action scholarship, and your defense for that is that you didn't have the money to pay for law school, even though you'd already made over $1 million at the time and made another $2 million.
My defense of that is somebody gives you a merit scholarship at the age of 24, you take it. At the age of 24, somebody gives you a merit scholarship, you take it. I didn't say I didn't have the money. I said at a time when I had a lot less money than now, $50,000.
You said exactly I didn't have the money, Vivek. You keep forgetting your quote. You said, when I didn't have the money.
So, Mehdi, I've made this really easy for everybody. And I did this in the early weeks of the campaign.
Yeah.
I released 20 years of tax returns.
Yes, you did.
Something that no presidential candidate, let alone somebody who's successful in business, has done. I challenged Democrats and Republicans alike, including the Biden family, to do it. And you know what? I released it so that you could look at them, so we can have an honest conversation.
I appreciate that.
The funny thing I've learned,
I do appreciate that. It's something Trump should learn from you.
I think that transparency is important. So
it's
already open and everybody can see it.
Exactly. We have 2009.
But the fact of the matter is, you know what I would advise every 24-year-old should take
2009 and 2010. You made $750,000. You had the money to pay for law school. You didn't need a Soros affirmative action scholarship that you now criticize.
I mean, none of this is worthy, but if you think it is, let's get to the detail. That was actually the first big piece of money.
You say you're anti-affirmative action. You took a scholarship for immigrants.
I'm anti-affirmative action.
So why'd you take a scholarship for the children of immigrants?
Which falsehood would you like me to address? The financial one or the one about my views on affirmative action? Because I can go in whichever order you'd like. On the financial piece of it, not at the time that I had applied for the scholarship that fall.
Yes, you did.
That December.
Yes, you did, Vivek. This is awkward for you because you did. I've got the tax returns in front of my face.
No, it's not awkward for you. Yes, on December 31st, when the application for the scholarship was that October. Mehdi, you're wasting your time on childish details in October of that year when I applied for that scholarship. And it was, well, guess what? The bonuses that a hedge fund pays, and it's a shame that...
Let me tell you all something. I literally do not like this man. Not only is he racist, but one of the other reasons I don't like him is because he is such a hypocrite. Okay, as are many people who think and behave like him, even the ones who don't look necessarily like him, but they're of a lighter hue. Because the thing is this, he's against DEI and affirmative action, but yet he took it. Okay, he took it. And I want you all to pay attention. And now he sits here and tries to finagle his way out of it and act as though this is what this man is saying is not true. The man literally has his tax documents and records right there in his face. Another thing is his parents came here illegally. Okay, his parents came here illegally and he was born here, or well, they were legally in the country, but they weren't citizens. And so he was born here, which made him a citizen. But now he doesn't want other immigrants to be able to do the same. I find that all hypocritical. But let's continue.
Again, you don't have to be an expert on this, but if you're going to spout out, you better know something about it. People pay at a hedge fund the bonuses at the end of a year, and on December 31st, that's when I was paid. I applied for the scholarship that September, and I did not grow up in a wealthy family.
Vivek, you made more money the previous year.
I made $200,000 pre-tax or whatever it was.
No, you didn't.
And you know what?
Hold on. No, you didn't. You're now telling flat. In 2009,
you have my tax returns in front of you. I don't remember what I made in 2009.
In 2009, you made $650,000. In 2010, you made less, $450,000. So the argument that you only made the money pre the scholarship, Oh, so now we're bringing tax into it. We've been using gross numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Vivek, you're wrong on this. Go back and check your tax returns.
$50,000 obviously makes a big difference.
And then you accepted a Soros scholarship for $50,000 when you didn't need it.
Well, you know what the fact is, Mehdi, is $50,000 did make a big difference to me back then. And anybody who has a few $100,000 in the bank is going to take $50,000 without strings attached. Take the scholarship. But my question for you is, why on earth are you, as an intelligent person interested in politics, obsessing over a 24-year-old's $50,000 scholarship?
I'm interested in truth,
beneath you.
We have a country to fix. That you wear. And I'm interested in truth.
And Mehdi, that's why I released 20 years. Mehdi, that is why I released 20 years of tax records. Tell your friends in the Biden administration to do the same.
He said he released 20 years of tax receipts, and the reporter told him, and you should read them, because clearly he didn't, or he's just sitting up there bold-faced lying. He knows darn well he had enough money to afford it. He didn't need that $50,000 scholarship. That should have gone to someone who was struggling. He was not. Okay, he was not struggling. End of the day, honey, he's just a liar and a hypocrite at the end of the day. Let's get into it. Now, this young man says that Trump is prioritizing white Americans or white people to come to America. Of course, that's what he's doing.
We have some major news right now. According to the New York Times, the Trump administration is considering a radical overhaul of the refugee system to prioritize white people. Yes, I'm serious. The New York Times report shows that the U.S. refugee system essentially would slash the program to its bare bones, giving preference to English speakers, white South Africans, and Europeans who specifically oppose migration. Some of the proposals have actually already gone into effect, according to the Times, while others are still kind of in the works to transform the United States refugee system. Now, this is a system that in a lot of ways has been completely run to a halt in recent months, ever since the Trump administration took office back in January. But now they're kind of doing the quiet thing out loud and working to prioritize white people over anyone else for coming into the United States to earn refugee status here in the United States of America. This is significant news that people need to know about. So as always, spread the word. Full updates on my Substack, linked in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along.
All right, so you all heard that. Now, how many of you saw? Oh, hold on. You all have to see this. Okay, this is what someone asked Vivek about. this white man asked him about his son serving in the military in Germany and why he can't bring his wife, who's German, and their baby that she's about to have over here without the man having to stay over there for another 4 years. And this man brings up the Haitians, and I don't know what the Haitians had to do with it, but this is what they do. Okay, this is what they do. Absolutely. Please pay attention.
My son is serving in the army right now over in Germany.
Your son?
My son is.
Well, tell him thank you for
Okay.
his service. I appreciate
But
it.
the problem is, he's married over there. He's going to be having a baby next month. For him to get the baby to come here to the United States and his wife, he has to do 4 more years. But the Haitians come over here and get everything.
So in order for, I missed that because
For them to get their visa, their plane ticket, he has to do 4 more years.
That doesn't sound right to me. He's more than getting screwed, but this is why. Anybody aware of this? We have a 25% recruitment deficit in our own U.S. military. And you want to know why? Young people aren't stupid. They're saying, if this is how you're going to treat us, then I don't feel like serving the country anymore. So,
3 years already now.
you know what? I want you to talk to me after this or talk to my team after this. I want to make sure the rest of the country is able to hear the story of a man who is serving his nation, having a baby abroad. We should be celebrating that child as a child of this nation, especially against the backdrop of a southern border that's as open as we've ever had. No, we can't have both those things at once. I'm not okay with that. And we're going to make sure that gets fixed. I appreciate that, my man.
The nerve of that man bringing up the Haitians who had nothing to do with it, okay, basically saying, oh, they're letting them come here and do whatever, but my son can't bring his wife from Germany. Here's how ignorant he is. Okay, here's how ignorant he is. The son is in Germany and the wife is German. Did he not think that perhaps her country is not going to just let her leave and come here without the proper protocols being followed? Because that's what that is. Okay, that's what that is. So anyway, but let's go to this where Fox News, they're scrambling and regretting bringing Zohran Mamdani on the air because they wanted him to apologize to the police and they thought he wasn't going to do it, and he did. Okay, now this is one Indian that I do like. The rest of them who act like that one right there, Vivek, they can sit down somewhere. Okay, they can sit down somewhere.
Police officers that I spoke to, they don't want a behind closed doors apology. They want a broad public apology for the things that you suggested about them. Will you do that?
Now, I want you all to pay attention. I'm not going to interrupt, but I want you all to pay attention to how rudely, I'm going to start it back, but how rudely she interrupts his apology. Now, if you ask me, the reason she interrupted his apology is because she didn't want one. See, she didn't think that he was going to offer one. When she said the police don't want a back door or behind the closed doors apology, they want a public one, she didn't think he was going to do it. And when he did, she's looking stupid. And so she tries to interrupt him. Not tried, she did. Okay? But let's continue.
Police officers that I spoke to, they don't want a behind closed doors apology. They want a broad public apology for the things that you suggested about them. Will you do that right now?
Absolutely. I'll apologize to police officers right here because this is the apology that I've been sharing with many rank and file officers. And I apologize because of the fact that I'm looking to work with these officers. And I know that these officers, these men and women who serve in the NYPD, they put their lives on the line every single day. And I will be a mayor that
What changed your mind about it?
You know, I moved to the city when I was 7 years old. I grew up here. And two of the things that I thought often about was safety and justice. And growing up here, learning about the case of the exonerated five, learning about Sean Bell, learning about Eric Garner, learning about Michael Brown. And then in 2020, the year where all of these tweets are referring to, it was the year when George Floyd was killed. And it felt like safety and justice had never been further apart. And it was actually Eric Adams in 2021 who said that New Yorkers need not choose between these two things. And so one of my focuses was, how do we deliver that justice? And now what I know, having represented 100,000 people in Western Queens, is that to deliver that justice, you have to also deliver that safety. And that means representing the men and women in the NYPD. It means representing the black and brown New Yorkers who've been victims of police brutality. It means representing the Muslim New Yorkers in my district who were surveilled on the basis of their faith.
Now, I'm going to tell you all like this, honey. She was instantly regretted that she asked him that question or that she made that statement for him to apologize because, first of all, that's Fox News. Okay, we already know how racist they are, right? And so, with that all being said, not only did he apologize, as she didn't expect, but then he started talking about Black people's lives and brown people and all that. You know, I don't want to hear that on Fox. Like, what the hell are you doing here? Okay, it's likely what she was thinking. Now, let's go to this other video where he addresses Trump directly.
Three candidates in New York City's mayoral race will take part in their first debate. That includes former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's running as an independent, Curtis Sliwa, who's running as a Republican, and Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani, running as a Democrat. Mamdani appeared on Fox News yesterday and spoke directly to President Trump. Listen to this.
And I just want to speak directly to the president, which is that I will not be a mayor like Mayor Adams who will call you to figure out how to stay out of jail. I won't be a disgraced governor like Andrew Cuomo who will call you to ask how to win this election. I can do those things on my own. I will, however, be a mayor who is ready to speak at any time to lower the cost of living.
CBS News political director Finn Gomez is here in New York and joins me in studio. Good to see you.
Hey, Vlad. Good to see you,
Good to see you, my brother. All right. So, during his interview, Mamdani apologized to police officers yesterday. What was that all about?
Yeah, this goes back to 2020 when he had just been elected to the state assembly here in New York. And it was right after, if you remember, it was right after the George Floyd death. And it was this, he had put out on social media and publicly it said that some really sharp criticism towards the NYPD, saying that they were racist, that they were corrupt. And so when he went on Fox yesterday and talked about this, he had said that he had already had some private conversations with the police here in New York City, and also apologized publicly. And I think it was a smart move politically, at least that's what I'm hearing from progressives, because they feel that the crowd that he was trying to address, especially with the Fox News crowd, were those who were more supportive of police.
Yeah, and I thought it was good for him to go on Fox. Martha McCallum, always a great anchor journalist, was able to probe some of his past controversies, and he was there in the kitchen, so to speak, to take the heat. The other candidate I want to ask you about is Curtis Sliwa. He spoke to CBS News this week about what he believes sets him apart from other candidates. I want to play a little bit of what he told our CBS News producer, Jared Okacher.
If New York City ends up with a socialist mayor, it will encourage other young Democratic Socialists of America, led by Bernie Sanders, AOC, and now Zohran Mamdani, to come on board and become DSA members and take over their city's government legally. I'm the only one standing between Zohran Mamdani and Andrew Cuomo, who I call Zohran Light.
All right, so Sliwa has sort of been a dark horse in this race. The criticisms leveled at Mamdani, who apparently seems to be the front runner in this race, that he's a socialist. That term gets tossed around a lot by people whenever they have a policy, just the same way that sometimes people on the left talk about fascism when they're describing their opponents on the other side. There's nothing that indicates that he's an avowed socialist, but that is a label that he's going to have to fight against if he's going to be elected mayor, and especially if he is elected.
Yeah, I mean, look, he is a Democratic Socialist. He belongs to that Democratic Socialist Party. Obviously, he's running as a Democrat since then, since the primary upset win against Cuomo and others. He's basically moderated himself in a lot of these positions. Look, there's still a pretty significant, at least according to the latest Quinnipiac poll, there's a pretty significant, sizable lead between that he has over Cuomo and Sliwa. Sliwa is like way in third place. But if you look at it, since Eric Adams, the current mayor, as you know, dropped out, that support has gone to Cuomo.
The Adams supporters are now drifting towards Cuomo.
You could see that. You could see, like, since in like previous polling to like the most recent one, the support has really gone to Cuomo. Still, Mamdani, according to these polls, has about a 12 to 13-digit lead. Sliwa's in the back. But if you look at Sliwa's in this most recent Q poll, if you look at it, the difference is about the same. So I think there are many. I spoke to some Cuomo supporters here in New York who say they believe that if he did drop out, and I don't think there's at least he's saying he's not going to, but if he did drop out, you could see that that lead narrow between Mamdani and Cuomo.
So yeah, I mean, so he's a member of the Democratic Socialist Party. He's running as a Democrat. The question, of course, is now with the Adams voters drifting towards Cuomo, it does strike me that even though the press seems to be enamored with Mamdani, certainly young people are, that it's an uphill battle. Even if if the polls are showing that he's the front runner now, because I'm just imagining all those people who loved Andrew Cuomo when he was governor. You got people in Staten Island, you got people on the Upper West Side. Sure. That's Cuomo's natural base. Harlem, which is where Eric Adams might have had some real sway. If those votes are going to, or those supporters are drifting towards Cuomo, doesn't it mean that Mamdani, maybe the polls aren't accurately reflecting where New Yorkers really stand?
I mean, yeah, I think there is a chance that is the case. We have seen in previous cycles that it hasn't been accurate. I do think that pretty much the general sense is that the Mamdani does have a pretty healthy lead versus Cuomo right now. But as you know, we're 19 days away to Election Day. This is the most consequential mayoral election in years. You can see some narrowing in the leads, and I think there's a lot of people who expect that to happen.
Is there any pressure on Sliwa to drop out then?
There has been from the White House.
From the White House?
The president.
So that's interesting. The White
said,
House is pushing because they know that it's going to benefit Cuomo.
Yeah, we do know that the president has publicly said that he's poked fun at Sliwa, and there has been some pressure to push him out, but he has said that and he has reiterated that he's not leaving.
Really fascinating. It's really interesting. Kind of a unique situation happening here in New York City, including Finn Gomez here in Studio 50.
Okay, I want you all to pay attention because I find it interesting. Trump is supporting Andrew Cuomo, who in 2021 resigned from office as governor because he was accused of sexually harassing multiple women. Y'all remember that? Yeah. Multiple women, okay? But he's running for mayor. Please, sir, sit down somewhere. Okay, now with that all been said, we're almost done, beloveds. But I want you all to hear this because if you remember, I reported to you all days ago about those young Republicans. Actually, it wasn't days ago. It was yesterday. It was yesterday. And if you missed that broadcast, please go back and check it out. Yesterday, YouTube was down, so you may not have seen the video. Okay, but here's the thing. So let me just go to this video. Likes up, everyone, please like and share, because those young men, the young Republicans who said all those racist, hateful, anti-Semitic, homophobic things, well, some of them have been fired.
The Kansas Young Republicans organization has been disbanded after a bombshell Politico investigation unveiled a trove of racist and derogatory messages in a group chat with other young GOP members in 4 states. I'm Matt Kelly, the Kansas politics reporter for the Kansas City Star, here to talk about it. 2 top Kansas members were part of the group exposed in the Politico investigation, including Vice Chair William Hendricks, who worked as a spokesperson for Attorney General Chris Kobach. He was fired last Thursday, the office told me. Kansas Young Republicans Chair Alex Dwyer was also in the group. The report includes screenshots of messages that are casually violent, racist, anti-Semitic, misogynistic, and anti-LGBTQ. Oftentimes, slurs were played for laughs in the group chat, Politico reported. According to their investigation, William Hendricks used the N-word more than a dozen times in messages over the course of 7 months. Chair Alex Dwyer reportedly reacted to a message from another member that said, quote, "Great, I love Hitler," unquote, with a smiley face, and he heart-reacted to a message about killing political opponents in a gas chamber. The encrypted Telegram chat also included young Republican members from New York, Arizona, and Vermont. Republicans in Kansas have been quick to rebuke the comments made by members of the group that included Hendricks and Dwyer. Denidre Herbert, who is chair of the Kansas GOP and also works as a spokesperson for Chris Kobach's office, said Kansas Republican leadership was disgusted by the comments and said they, quote, "do not reflect the beliefs of Republicans and certainly not of Kansas Republicans at large," unquote. Kansas Senate President Ty Masterson, a Republican who's running for governor, also said he's personally disgusted by the comments. After a picture circulated on social media of Masterson with both Hendricks and Dwyer at a campaign kickoff event, Masterson categorically denied any association with them. Read the full story at the link in our bio, or kansascity.com.
Okay, so they disbanded them, honey, at the end of the day. Yeah, I knew they would after they talked trash about Trump. Okay, now they didn't care anything about them being homophobic, anti-Semitic, or, well, Trump probably would care about that because he's really good friends with Benjamin Netanyahu, mind you. But they darn sure didn't care about the homophobic things and the racist things against the anti-black things that were said. They had no problem with that at all. Okay, none whatsoever. And I find it all interesting. Now, with that all being said, I'm about to be up out of here. Karima says, greetings, Queen. Thanks for all of the information. Well, thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Goodness Rated Bo says, I thought it was my cable. I said to self, didn't I just pay the bill? But it was down. It was YouTube's fault. I couldn't watch YouTube. Yep, it was them, beloved. Okay, it was them. I thought it was them messing with the channel as they oft do. Okay, so anyway, with that all been said, listen, I'm out of here. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Okay, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Now, I doubt that I will be back later this evening because I'm actually supposed to be going on conversations with Jay's channel this evening at some point. Okay, so I will leave you all the information on my X account. Okay, as it pertains to the time or whatever, because I'm not really sure of the time. And but it will be this evening, so I'll leave that on my X and also in the YouTube community tab. Okay, so anyway, enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Sold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got